What's going on, everybody? This is Manga Deep Dive. I'm your host, Mr. OP Squared, and today we're going to be talking about Gentle Criminal, the main antagonist in the UA Festival arc. His real name is Denjiro Tobita, and he has a very eccentric and posh personality, but he's also very controversial amongst the My Hero Academia community because of his almost useless appearance to many of the fans. But for this discussion, we'll be discussing why he's important to the series, what made him actually stand out, and why he needed to be a part of the UA Festival arc. So with that, let's just discuss a little bit about him. He's a very low-level criminal that is obsessed with becoming famous. He actually uses YouTube as the medium for his distribution of his crimes, and he is not malicious in any way. He really doesn't enjoy combat at all, and his only motivation is to become noticed. This is exemplified by how he refuses to take any of the cash from the convenience store that he's robbing when he is being introduced to the actual series, stating that leaving it behind is a performance fee. In fact, he only committed crimes to organizations that he deems to have done something wrong, like the convenience store that he originally is robbing. It is what is called the company is called JSTOR, a global company that tried to hide the expiration date on its plum pudding. And then his invasion to the UA, his plan was even a misguided attempt to teach the students to always be prepared and to show the flaws and security of the school. So he's more like a derpy Robin Hood than a real malicious villain. And this all stems from his past of wanting to be a hero when he was younger, but he flunked out of his very low-level hero school after failing the provisional license exam 4 times and being held back in school. Despite having a very powerful quirk, elasticity, which allows Gentle to bestow the properties of elasticity to anything that he touches, it is impossible to deactivate the effects of the quirk at will, meaning that the effects of the elasticity only wear off until a certain amount of time passes, that he himself has no control over. But he failed because he was unwilling to put forth the effort to become a hero. This is shown when he tried to save a window washer as he was falling, but got in the way of a licensed hero. He just saw an opportunity to save a person without any proper training, trying to capitalize on the moment for the notice that he could receive rather than to help the person. So he just jumped in half-cocked and caused the person to be hospitalized for 6 months and strapped his parents with the medical bills, causing them to have to downgrade in houses and become bogged down with extreme debt. And because of that, his parents actually kicked him out of the house. This was an extremely low point, but what really caused it to be the lowest of low points and really make him rethink his life and give him actual motivation is when he meets a former classmate and who had become a hero and gained some local fame. And as he goes up to talk to that individual, the hero does not recognize him at all. And this all caused him to turn his life around, but it turned to a life of crime, because he realized that instead of becoming famous, he could become infamous, and started to commit crimes and upload them to YouTube. His videos were extremely unpopular, basically gaining no likes whatsoever and constantly being shut down. But he did capture the attention of one superfan that would become his trusty sidekick, Labrava. She herself was a shut-in, being ridiculed and embarrassed throughout her own life, but was inspired by Gentle's charisma and searched him out through the internet and came right up to his apartment door, and he let her right on in, changing his life. It is a very creepy story. I guess, if any girl were just to knock up on any person's door and just be like, hey, I found you on the internet, hunted you down, and now I'm here, that would be absolutely terrifying. But apparently Gentle is entirely okay with it. So what makes him different? His design is totally eccentric and overdramatic, and yet has heart and a real sense of realism. This is not in itself unique to Gentle Criminal, but what does make it unique is that his design represents the Silver Age of American comics from 1956 to 1975. The Silver Age can be split into two approaches: the more old-fashioned, goofy, and whimsical characters, and the more characterization-based style, where characters dealt with their own enemies as well as inner demons. And he represents both of these. He has both sides of this, of the dual, or both sides of the coin when it comes to the Silver Age of comics. His schemes are very small scale. It is not focused on world domination or the creation of a new hero society, but just low-level criminal work. He also has an extremely powerful quirk, but anytime he tries to accomplish a task, it always turns into a comedic situation. From the biggest plans to the simple pouring tea from the pot to the cup, nothing is done without a ridiculous outcome. Villains of this era were more goofy rather than genuinely threatening, and that's exactly what Gentle Criminal encompasses. Nothing what he does is really going to have an impact on society. He is just a goofball trying to be noticed. That's his entire shtick. But just like how Gentle Criminal had a real-life crisis at the beginning, where he is an average person that goes through very difficult times, and he just wants to be noticed, so did characters in the Silver Age. There were many that had to fight crime, heroes in this representation. There were many that had to fight crime while also suffering from what they experienced in real life. Spider-Man is a perfect example of this. He's just this character that, he's fighting crime as well as trying to deal with the everyday life of a teenager. And that's where Gentle Criminal's inspiration comes from, where Kohei Horikoshi, the creator, really drew from. I mean, you have these characters in Silver Age that are just goofballs. Adam West Batman is probably the best example in the sense that it is this goofball storytelling, really wanting the character to be applicable to children. Then you have, on the flip side, you have Spider-Man, who is you have Spider-Man the hero and Peter Parker just the normal kid who is really going through all of this stuff and doing their best to survive. And Gentle Criminal really encompasses all of what the Silver Age is, and that's where it makes him different from other characters in the My Hero Academia narrative. So why is Gentle Criminal important to My Hero Academia? His importance comes in two forms. The first is to give Kohei Horikoshi a break. The previous arc to the festival arc in which he's introduced is the overhaul arc. In this arc, there are a lot of dark themes. Characters are dying. There's a lot of abuse. There's not much happiness in that arc. Of course, it ends kind of happy. It's very melancholy ending. And Kohei Horikoshi has to draw that day in, day out for weeks. He has to do all that mental power putting forth into these negative concepts and themes. And so it takes an immense toll on him. And the UA Festival arc is a way to escape that, to have a positive impact, to reestablish the story in something that's just giving him a mental break from all that negativity. And of course, it's a shonen manga, so there has to be a villain. And so Gentle Criminal is the perfect addition to that. He is campy, he is overdramatic, he is charismatic, and he is just almost has so many comedic overtones, and yet he still has a realistic quality to him. And that's what the first aspect of why he's important. The second is to show a different class of criminal. He is not a megalomaniac. He doesn't want to change society. He doesn't want to change the world. He just wants to be noticed. And he needs to have, he's a realistic character. He's what the everyday person could actually see themselves becoming. In the sense of a shonen manga, he is just this average individual that wants to have fame. He doesn't want to just fade into, the history of life. He just wants to be noticed. But while he's doing all that, he's realizing that the love he has for La Brava, his sidekick, the person that's in his life, is more important than that fame. And he's also there to show that the mindset of a villain can be changed, that the main characters, the protagonists, aren't just fighting evil for the sake of fighting evil, that they can actually change the minds of the villains whom they are constantly at war with. And that's his importance. He is a realistic character that is giving Koei Horikoshi a break. And without him, the festival arc would not be the same. My Hero Academia would not be the same. He is a wonderful character that does have an impact on the series outside of the controversial back and forth of, is he really a great character? In my opinion, he is a wonderfully designed character. And with that, I will end this discussion. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Goodbye.